Welcome to another Small Cap Power discussion. I'm your host, Jim Gordon. We're here filming on location at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel in downtown Vancouver, part of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, which, if you can see out the window, is taking place just across the street at the Vancouver Convention Center. Joining me now is the President and CEO of Rockhaven Resources, Matthew Turner. Welcome.
Thanks, Jim. Nice to be here.
Great to have you, sir. Okay, we're going to talk about first an overview of the company. You've been the CEO since 2008, the president since 2015. You're obviously the guy to talk to.
Yep.
You were saying off camera, you come on as CEO. We all remember 2008, what was happening there. You pick it up from there.
Okay, yeah. So I came on as CEO right basically in November 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. And we knew that it was going to be difficult raising funds for the next couple of years, obviously. So we identified 3 road accessible projects. Again, when you're road accessible, you take away the helicopters, you take away the planes. In our case now for our flagship project, you can just drag the drills around. They're just on skids, so it's very cost effective. And that was the reason why we ended up picking up Klaza. Now that was 2010 when we started working on it. We made a major discovery on hole 3. Fast forward to today, where we just finished hole 561. That's over now 120,000 meters of drilling. And so it's come a long way. We've done a number of resource estimates. We put out a PEA based on the most recent resource estimate. That was in 2020. It showed very positive economics at $14.50 gold and $17 silver. And so, yeah, it's been an exciting last number of years, especially.
To say the least.
Yeah,
Some great results. I'll blow your horn, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the recent results for the Klaza project, which we should also say 100% own, and as you mentioned, road accessible, which is important.
Yeah, and further on, Jim, we're actually, the deposit itself is unencumbered, so there's no royalties attached to, so it's quite, I guess, unique in this space to have an unencumbered plus million ounce high-grade gold deposit. Last year, we completed about 14,000 meters of drilling, so one of the bigger drill programs in the Yukon. Made a number of new discoveries. Also did some infill drilling and expansion drilling on the resource. And not only we're able to hit some really nice zones within kind of some of the what was considered to be waste blocks within the PEA, but also expanded some of the known zones as well. So, and then furthermore, we stepped out about 3 kilometers away in a new discovery we made in 2020 and expanded that zone. That's at 300 meters along strike now and looking really prospective to being, a potential game changer to the overall Klaza, both resource and future economics.
There are certainly some big names in the Yukon region. Also, you had mentioned to me some encouraging government support in terms of infrastructure upgrades.
The challenges, everybody knew the challenges in the north, right? Mainly power, access, those kind of things. The access has, I think, really been strengthened. Combination of the feds and the territorial government has earmarked about $400 million for investment into Yukon specifically for access into future mining projects. So that's going to be, I think, huge for not only us, but the whole territory, of course. When you look at some of the big names that have really identified that Northern Cordilleran Gold Province, it stretches from basically the Golden Triangle in north central BC all the way up into more or less central Alaska. And of course Yukon is right kind of smack dab in the middle. But we've seen major investments by Newmont that's progressing their Coffee gold deposit, which they purchased through the acquisition of Goldcorp. You've got Rio that just invested a ton of money into Western Copper and Gold, which is about 100 kilometers along the trend from us. Right. The Minto mine, which is about 50 kilometers north of us, is doing really well for Minto Metals. And then you've got Alexco that's getting the Birmingham mine up and going at Keno. And Victoria Gold obviously making waves with their Eagle Gold mine. So yeah, a lot of really, I think, good attention on the Yukon, and it's nice to see these mines getting going again and doing really quite well.
Can we talk about the valuation of the company? We'll get into future plans and investment thesis, which you mentioned.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So right now, if you're looking at North American projects, They're valued at, if you take a look at their valuation per ounce in the ground, they're sitting at around, say, $49 is the last estimate that we saw. That was in January 2022, that estimate was given. We're sitting, and that's gold equivalent per ounce in the ground. We're sitting at $11 per gold equivalent ounce in the ground. So there's this enormous disconnect where our peer groups are to where we are. So I think that's part of the investment thesis when it comes to people looking at Rockhaven as a potential investment.
We're right now mid-2022 doing this interview. Let's talk about your plans for the rest of the year, into next year. I would assume additional drilling.
Yes.
Will be part of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun next, say, 12 months for Rockhaven. Number one, it's going to be a big focus on converting the remaining inferred mineral resources into the indicated category, so a higher confidence mineral resource estimate, and we'll take that indicated resource estimate into the pre-feasibility that's scheduled for Q2 2023. So it's going to be lots of catalysts coming up for the company. And again, you know, to keep in mind, this is a $20 million market cap, right? And we could be going into some pretty amazing next steps for the company.
I'll let you go out on this. You brought some samples. What are we looking at right now for our?
Yeah, well, the top one, that's the top stretch. This is from the Western BRX zone. So that zone in particular, I look at it as being the crown jewel of the project. It's a spectacularly mineralized gold and silver zone on the property. That zone is actually part of a 2-meter sample that graded 24 grams gold and 800 grams silver. The lower one is actually from our new rust discovery. So that's seen about 10 holes now. We've got mineralization across the 300-meter strike length, but it's looking like it could be kind of a whole new vein system that we're dealing with, only a couple kilometers away from the veins that make up the main deposit at Klaza. So again, expanding out the mineralizing system and really turning into basically a camp size play, right? A camp size discovery here, which is really important, I think, when you're trying to attract some of the bigger miners. You know, you're showing that, okay, we're already at about 1.6 million ounces gold equivalent. This thing has potential to get easily past 2 into the 3 million ounce category. So it's exciting times.
It certainly is. It's Matthew Turner, President and CEO of Rockhaven Resources. More information, by the way, rockhavenresources.com. Thank you for joining us, sir, and for bringing your work.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. That is it for this edition of Small Cap Power Discussions. I'm your host, Jim Gordon. Don't forget to check us out at SmallCapPower.com. You can also visit our YouTube channel. We're here at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel in downtown Vancouver in cooperation with the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. Thanks for joining us.